guys, Matt from Everett Powersports here. By popular demand, I've been asked to talk about Bib Mousse inserts, Nitro Mousse, how to install them, how they're traditionally done, and what they're for. Here at Everett Powersports, we sell Nitro Mousse brand. There's a couple different kinds. Originally, Michelin was the one that really made Bib Mousses, and they came in about 14 to 15 PSI replicated foam for desert racing. In recent history, endurocross got popular and things, and modifying these mousses so that you wouldn't get a flat during racing and stuff, and trying to get lower pressures than 15 PSI for better traction, especially here in the Northwest. Nitro Mousse has come out with two different kinds. You know, one is their platinum. It's the firmer one for higher speed, dry type racing, desert, stuff like that. And then they come with the plushie right here, which I'm holding. It's fairly dense foam, but it replicates somewhere in that 6 to 8 PSI range. Effective for places like Walker Valley, Western Washington, things like that. So traditionally changed by hand. And if any of you guys are watching this video that have maybe done this by yourself in your own garage and things like that, you guys are aware of the struggle that there can be trying to mount these things, especially with rim locks. Traditionally, they're mounted with tire irons. You'll need at least 3 if you're gonna do it by yourself. Guys that have spent some money have gone to like a rabaconda type stand. This is what most dealers will use. We'll use a stand like this that allows you some leverage to try and get the tire irons into the bead and things like that. Can still be a bit of a struggle. I've been using tire machines on this for a little while now. I use Bib Mousses on my own personal vehicle. I was gonna shoot an instructional video on how to do that. If you guys are blessed enough to have a tire machine, I can kind of walk you through that. They also use mount gels, very, very important with Bib Mousses because it reduces friction. These things can deteriorate quite quickly if you don't use the proper lubricant in that. So I'm not really gonna shoot that in the video today. I'm just gonna do more of an instructional one on how it's done with tire machine and a few pinch points and things like that. So enjoy the video. Thanks. What I have here is a Coates 150, RC 150, which has the conventional motorcycle soft clamps on it, which you'll see on Coates machines and K&L machines, very common for motorcycle dealers. I prefer to use a ATV wheel clamp when I actually do Bib Mousses, but these will work. There's a little bit more effort using this setup than like an ATV wheel clamp just because it turns, but it does have the cut off and drop off, which is really nice to have instead of the shelf on back, so it allows a lot more working space. Gone through the trouble of loosening the rim clamp on this tire. Like I say, with these clamps, it requires a little bit more effort to lock it in for the first time. So position of the turntable is very important. As you can see, the rim lock is directly between both clamps, and I want it right here so I can use this for leverage. The reason why is the rim clamp can be a bit of a problem. I want to be able to make sure that my rim lock is loose and etc. Part of the big struggle when you're using a different kind of tire machine. So major problem when you're using a tire machine like this with a Bib Mousse, how do you get the shoe down far enough with it basically full of foam or full of air? So on the other side of the shoe, which you can't see from here, there's a cutout most people are unaware of, where you can actually get your tire iron in there and set the shoe down. So what I do is I pick my spot and actually push down like this. I move the shoe over the top of it. I put my leg on this just to hold it down. I push the shoe all the way down, lock it in place. That gets the shoe down far enough to where I can now try and offset the tire, roll this over the top, and start my dismount process. I always do it 90 degrees from the rim lock. I've seen lots of people try and spread lube around when it's beaded up. It does not work. Allow the tire machine to do the work for you. So right in front of the knuckle, I force lube into the area. It'll actually push the bead lock in as it goes by. And like I say, I like to be 90 degrees from rim lock. I have found I prefer to use this side when I'm mounting tires or whatever. It doesn't reach into the tire very far. It keeps you away from the tube, that whole thing. I don't typically like to use this side, but I found with the Bib Mousse, there's just not an easy way to wedge this in. This side of the tire iron actually works better. Just wiggle it down, get a hold of it, force your drop center over, give her a wiggle, up and over you go. I go all the way around again, and then we're going to work our Bib Mousse up. So sliding the Bib Mousse up over the rim. I never move this. When you're doing a tube, you can move it in and out, that whole thing. I leave it in place because right now to reposition it would be extremely difficult. I'm 90 degrees again away from it. I'm now going to use my thin end, force it up and over. You can leave this in. I've tried it either way. It doesn't really matter at this point. And off comes your Bib Mousse.
Watching that after watching, us do it.
So, I have used some lube. I've lubricated up my surfaces. You can use tire mount gel around the side. Some people use the lubricant for the actual Bib Mousse on the beading surface. It works fine. Notice right now I'm about, not 90 degrees anymore, I'm about 45 on the rim lock. And the reason for that is I want to get this surface underneath the rim lock here. Very similar to just straight mounting a tire, except we got the tube installed. I've already got a relief here from it previously being mounted, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the shoe over here. I'm going to make sure it's all the way down. And I'm going to tuck this under the rim lock. I'm going to walk it around. You can see my rim lock there. And I'm just going to walk this thing on, just like that. Now instead of going all the way around, because I got my rim lock to deal with there, I am going to come back around to about 90 degrees. I'm going to work my Bib Mousse down. And you're like, well, how do I get it over the shoe? Same way. So I go back to my favorite side here, because I can grab this, and I work the whole thing just like that past the shoe. So the rim lock, I'm going to come back over to about 45 degrees where you can see I can start to move it because it starts to push the mousse out. At this point, I'm going to grab it, I'm going to walk it over, but now, as you can see, it starts to get hard to move that. So that's where I grab my second tire iron. So I'll hold the bead with this one, and this is where location's important. I can use this just to walk that whole bead in. Now I can start to walk the Bib Mousse around, watching that I'm trying to be in the drop center. As you can see right here, I'm going to start to bind, right? So you can do one of two things. You can leave this tire iron in, or I can add a second tire iron to try and drop that into the drop center. So what I found the easiest way for me to do it was to do this, walk it around, and as this is dropping in, because you can see this is going to be my pinch point, so I drop this in, I push this down to the drop center, and I simply just start to walk it around. I get out of the way this time. To do is throw a little air in it so it beads up around this surface, tighten down my rim lock, and I'm good to go.